I was on my phone in the taxi and we were about halfway to the university when I got an email. And it said... So I don't usually do story times. I have a lot of stories, but not much times for stories. But this one I do want to get off my chest. This is the story of how I was a student in Britain for 6 hours. So I went to the IB, which stands for International Baccalaureate? A lot of the people in the IB end up studying abroad, which is why there were many optional orientation classes you could attend that solely focused on preparing to study abroad. But I didn't go to any of those because, let's be clear, Finland is great. We have great healthcare, amazing public libraries, saunas, rye bread, and most importantly, extremely cheap higher education. It's practically free. So, I don't need any preparation classes. It's not like I'm gonna study in the UK.
Are you sure about that?
So, it was my 3rd year in the IB. The final exams were nearing and I was being an absolute galaxy brain. And I loved science, so I wanted to study psychology in a university. There was just one problem. Remember how I said that Finnish higher education is cheap? Yeah. It's cheap because it's partially paid for by the state. And because it's partially paid for by the state, there aren't really enough places in university for just anyone who wants to study. Oh no. Psychology in particular has much higher demand than supply. It's one of the most difficult areas of study to get into in Finland. But I'm a galaxy brain. I'm only going to apply to study psychology, and then I'll just study very hard for the exams. Surely nothing can go wrong. But we are living in the year 2020, and nothing goes right. So the IB saw that some of the countries under its rule were cancelling final exams due to the global situation. And they decided to cancel the final exams for everyone, not return the money we paid for the exams, and decide the grades using an algorithm. Yay! Meanwhile, I had gotten my predicted grades for the exams and they were just high enough for me to study psychology in my nearest university. Great! I sure hope the IB algorithm doesn't drastically lower my grades. The IB algorithm drastically lowered my grades. I mean, they were still good grades, but in my circumstances they weren't high enough. After receiving my grades at my school, I was able to keep myself calm and composed for about an hour. And then I wasn't. Hello, this is a non-specific Finnish university. My grades got lower. Can I please still get in? Sorry, there's nothing I can do.
My daughter's grades were decided by a algorithm.
I was crushed. It felt like my entire future had been taken away from me. I was a sobbing mess. But by the 4th day after I had received my grades, I decided that it was time to start looking into other options. So I applied to study in the UK and I got in! Remember how I didn't attend any of the preparation classes for studying abroad? I now had about a month to figure all of that out. It was frantic. I was getting insurance, visiting banks, my psychology teacher misgendered me in a reference, I was renting an apartment, arranging travel, it was a lot. And the UK is weird. The accommodation, for example, had all kinds of crazy rules, such as no candles, no climbing on the roof, no barbecuing indoors. Yes, there was an actual written rule that just said no barbecuing indoors. Has this been a big problem? Meanwhile, Everyone was angry at the IB about using an algorithm to decide grades, and I think someone sued them or something, because suddenly I get a message that says exactly one of my grades has gone up, and it was higher level mathematics. Now, Finnish universities really like high mathematics grades, but I didn't think just one grade increasing would have been enough for anything since I was only barely in before. My day of moving out was a bit over a week after my graduation ceremony. I had to wake up at 4 a.m. to make it to my flight. I said goodbye to Ponzo because I was not to return home before Christmas. My parents took me to the airport in the capital, and it was time for me to go on my own. It was hard to breathe during the plane flight. The university had paid for a taxi drive from the airport. I had some trouble finding the driver, but I found him eventually and got in the car. The taxi driver was from Pakistan, so there was a bit of a language barrier between us, but I was too tired at this point to chat anyways. The next stop would be at the university, and from there on I would be guided. The most difficult part of the moving day was over. I was on my phone in the taxi, and we were about halfway to the university, which was a 2.5-hour drive from the airport, when I got an email. And it was from one of the Finnish universities. And it said that because of my one higher grade, I had just barely qualified to study psychology at the university. My points were now 0.2 points above the limit. Well, I would have appreciated being told this a bit earlier. What the hell am I going to do? I'm in the UK already! The choice wasn't difficult. Studying in Finland, even if it wasn't in the university near my home, was still going to save me tens of thousands of euros, and I would be able to visit home more frequently. So I texted my family about the new development. My dad had to drive me to the airport and take the car back home at night, and my mom hadn't been able to get any sleep either from the stress. So I can only imagine that their stress in this situation was about equal to mine. Nevertheless, they started looking for a plane flight back to Finland. I was a bit devastated and shed maybe 1 or 2 tears in the taxi. Hey, is everything okay? I need to get back to Finland. You want me to turn the car around? Hello. Hey, so the next and last flight to Finland today is pretty soon. You think you can make it? Turn the car around. So the taxi driver started driving back to the London airport, and I was nervous about whether I would be able to make it to the flight, and couldn't eat anything. On the way there, the driver got a call from his employer. Okay, so I need to turn back to the university. What? Why? The university wants to have you there to sort things out, and only then can you go back to the airport. I'm gonna miss my flight! Hey, you're not gonna miss your flight. But what if I miss it? If you miss your flight, then I'll bring you back to the university free of charge. Okay. Okay. So we get to the university and the taxi driver sticks with me as I find the person waiting for me there. Oh hey, you're a new student? Yeah, but I'm kinda in a hurry, I need to get back. What? I talked to the person's manager on the phone, and she promised to take care of removing me from my psychology course and tell the accommodation what had happened. So, I'm free to go? Yes, you are. Okay, thanks, bye! Okay, let's go! So, from my mom's messages, I was under the impression that I was in a hurry and would surely miss my flight if anything slowed us down. The taxi driver asked me if I need anything to eat, and despite having literally only eaten a single carrot that day, I declined. After the 2.5-hour ride, I was finally back at the airport, extremely tired and dizzy. The taxi driver, bless his soul, didn't charge me for having to turn back to the university at one point, but instead only for the drive that would have taken place if we had never turned around. So now it was time for me to navigate through the giant airport, even though my brain had probably fallen asleep a while ago. Mind you, I had never navigated through any airport completely by myself. Hey, do you need help? where do I check in? I'm going to Finland. Just over there. Okay, thank you. It came time for the security check. And at this point, I was feeling really faint and had to hold my head down. Ma'am, you need to take off your shoes. Oh, yeah, I'm a bit disoriented. That's all. I checked that there was nothing in my pockets that could have triggered the metal port thingy, but it still beeped, and I had to be searched. And even my hand luggage didn't get through on the first try, but instead, the staff took 7 minutes inspecting my fruit snacks. If being tired gets you this treatment, then I can't imagine how Middle Easterns have it. What's in this? Mashed fruit? It's like a snack. Okay. You may go now, ma'am. Thanks. So remember how I was supposedly in a hurry? Apparently, my mom had forgotten about the fact that I was now in a different time zone. So I was actually at the airport way early. A lot of the panic I had over making it to my flight had been for nothing! So yeah, I got back home from the UK a bit earlier than was planned. I am now going to be attending a Finnish university, and for the time being, the studying is happening online, so moving out will have to wait a while. So I suppose the story had a happy ending. Except that this whole mess cost me €1,000. So, I think this is a good time to launch my Patreon. I was planning to do this in the UK anyways, because I was going to need more funds to make it there, but hey, I'm gonna be moving out in the near future either way, so I figured I might as well not let the preparations I've made go to waste. For this thing anyways. On Patreon, you can support me by giving me a small amount of money each month, and while the amount is small for you, if multiple people chip in, it will be a lot for me. Your support would mean a ton. And as a little promo for my Patreon launch, I'm going to be doing a little animated project perhaps. So if you sign up as a patron and provide me with a character reference sheet or a picture of yourself or really anything that you want representing yourself, you could send in a picture of an egg for all I care. I will be using all of the character references I'm provided for a secret project. There's going to be a link in the card in the upper right corner as well as in the description. Again, thank you so much for your support. See you in the next video!